Yesterday's conspiracy theories, tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep and I ain't talking about no bedtime. The truth is not a Google search, you need to get your head right. The Greek goddess of illusion was called Media and I'm not a coincidence theorist, I look for thread lines. Smashing every deadline, no longer smashing red wine. Though I can hear the bells chime, it feels like the end times. That probably should have been smashed on red wine, but the carnal mind is foolish. Obey and end up ghoulish. Don't get used by instinct, take control and learn to use it. Make a load of earnest music, earn a few quid, learn a few tricks. Sure, the truth is persecuted, this whole world is pure abusive. Know a bit about everything and everything about nothing. Figured out my noggin while you picture out shopping. You sit about watching while I dish it out, stop it. I don't mean to sound cocky, I'm not even proud of it. It's a second nature to me, just to be this out honest. I don't even need to sound honest, never been about profit. Everything but out on it, you can bet your house on it. Doubt I'll be out for the count when the sounds, and I'm down for the beat, no beat down. I mean, how long's it been? Help me out. I've been the only one who's held me down. All in the mind, hell freeze now. Still sick with it, healthy how? Few bars down and the world freaked out. I don't reach out, I seek out to speak out. I'ma recount the reasons they beat out.
Hello. Welcome everybody to the 509 Divine Pines podcast. I am your host, Joseph Daniel Pena. Thank you for staying true and tuned in to this podcast, man. It is October 23rd, 2025, and I hope that you guys are ready for Halloween in the safest of ways. Don't do anything dumb. I mean it, like, just get your candy fix. Go get your little fun and get home, because it feels like the later people stay up these days, things are getting more wicked than how it was when people stayed up decades ago. I think like the way that society is being more reckless, it's just a dark and disturbing nature to be on Halloween, where people are psychologically like gone. They're acting like a villain, they're intoxicated, reckless, doing debaucherous stuff. You know, you don't need to be joining that stuff. Just get home, be safe for Halloween, and have fun, I guess. Like, subscribe, and share. Tell everybody around that this is going down, man. I appreciate every single moment that you spend with me, because I know that you're not spending it out in the streets doing dumb stuff, including me. So tonight's episode is going to be a pretty cool episode. I started a food drive with the help of Yakima 420 Club and a few other companies. So we are putting together a food drive for all the families in need across Washington State or here in our local community. And especially because we understand that times have been economically hard and that the SNAP benefits are going to be detrimentally impactful to millions of people across the nation. So me and a few other cannabis companies and companies are working together to give back to the community. So I'm going to play a video here shortly. Next up, we got a few other topics: the NBA Mafia, Operation Snow Globe, pretty much the war against everything. And while I get things ready, I'm going to set you guys off and start you off with a commercial. Yes, I do this every now and then. Just sit right back and enjoy this while I get the rest of the show ready.
Gonna go far, that's what we on the run for, go hard. Sipping gin while we sitting, spitting those bars. Getting rich, got a vision, get the show cards. Lot of money laying around cause we go hard, always go hard. Spitting fire, see the sonar, hope they resonate with the vibe. Feel like Mozart, really I'm alive in my soul. Feel like Mozart, that's what hoes are. Too explosive so I show art. Yeah, I make art, sad to see people with no heart. I work to replace all of the negative, I go far with it. I'ma show all of these bitches no complaining. If you with it, don't you dreamy, see the vision. Need my energy, the mission, really take all my precision. Every single day I picture where I'll be the day we get it. Feed the brothers, feed the fam, I don't really give a damn. I don't wanna get famous, I wanna lend a hand. Give the cash and rubber bands to the people always standing on my side, always down to ride, say I planned it. I'm the guy, life is supersized on the planet. In my mind, I don't gotta try, I already have it. I'll be doing damage, I was born a savage. In my mind, I already died, living lavish. Heaven is a state of mind, be glad if you have it. Living in a simulation, be patient to grab it. Universe will bring it to you if you ain't an average. If you live an average, then Satan found to manage your life. I'm just trying to tell you, if you gonna roll the dice, gamble in your life instead of living precise. I ain't perfect, but I'm gonna earn it. No, it don't concern anybody but my person. Lesson that I learned is that people are gonna burn. Anything you do, they gonna pay the price. Nothing nice come in life for the dipshits. They just wish shit, never gonna manifest it. Never catch me resting, short-term blessings. I just want my brain to work so I can write my next hit. Ignite the blessings, manifest my life, never question a moment in my life. I be knowing that it's meant to be, this my destiny. All the rest of my life really history. The day that I'm finally gone, they'll be missing me. Your position be the reason that I'm gone. 200 songs done, I've been on the run. I ride a wave, make a way, I'm the one. I stay the same, but I'm changing a ton. Rearranging my brain for the gains through the sun. I've been absorbing the light, I could say that I want.
Yesterday's conspiracy theories, tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep and
Hello. Sorry for the wait. Thank you guys for being here. And I want you guys to go check out my sponsor over here at shopc60.com. Affiliate that I work with. They don't pay me anything. But we have discounts. They send me free products, but they don't pay me, to say this. I'm doing this out of the love of my own free heart. I'm doing this freely out of the love of my heart. So they have C60 gummies, pet products, C60 oil, C60 skincare, so facial regeneration, anti-gravity serum, C60 sexy oil. This is the best skincare product that you can buy. Very, very powerful, extremely nice and clean, and you don't have to worry about any toxic exposure to anything. This is 100% organic and natural, healthy stuff. So definitely the best antioxidant known to man. C60 has the antioxidant efficiency several hundredfold higher than any conventional antioxidants. It is a Nobel Prize winning compound from the 80s, so it is world class, a free radical sponge with the ability to neutralize free radicals and reset itself again and again. So pretty much just keeps you restored at a high level, all your energy. This is the one that I personally take, and why my face looks soft and skin looks very healthy, why my energy is always very high, and why even though I'm very stoned, my eyes are pretty clear. They do real good stuff for your pets too. If you have old pets, elderly pets, sick pets, pets that just been injured, give this to them and they will be right back to youthful, energized state. Swear to God, I swear on everything. I mean it, because I give it to my dogs and I get annoyed. Like if I give them too much, they are bouncing off the walls and won't stop. Guys, there's there's Thanksgiving coming up. I mean, Halloween is just right here, but Thanksgiving is coming up, and I've been thinking about ways to help the community. And thankfully, Sunny Nanes and I from Sunny Nanes from Yakima 420 Club, and I have put together a food drive, a cool fundraiser donation website on GoFundMe, and we're going to promote this as much as we can. We're going to get as much donors as we can. We already got a $500 donation just within the first hour, and it's actually enlightening and good for my heart and spirit. Where I see all around society, people are doing wicked stuff for fun because they like it. Because I don't know. It's weird. And I'm not with it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give back to the community the way that I know how, and I'm gonna play this video for you. So here you go.
Hey
What the
everybody, good
heck?
afternoon.
What
As
the
most of you
heck?
heard, people are going to
Why did
be
it just
impacted
freeze?
by the missing SNAP benefits. Thousands of households,
Here we go. Sorry
thousands of
about that.
people. Well, what I'm going to do is I have partnered up with local Sunny Nanas and his company Yakima 420 Club along with other companies to start a food drive. We are going to give back a meal to families in need on Thanksgiving. Currently, we are looking for all the help we can get. Companies, individuals who are willing to donate, event organizers, people who just want to help any way possible, hands on. We already have this in motion and we are planning this for around Thanksgiving. So stay tuned if you would like to help, if you have any companies, if you have any friends, family members who would like to help brush this idea by them. So this is a Pacific Northwest 509 collective, a collaboration between multiple companies across the towns and counties. So thank you guys, and we are going to do our best to get back to the communities. And you know me, I'm always willing to help, and I'm always willing to put my hands in the dirt, even just break my back, and get back to you guys. We're all in this together, and I don't want to see families suffer and starve because recently I haven't been able to feed myself proper, so I understand the struggle. I'm doing my best to give back the way that I know how, and that is through collective effort. So, this post is going to be shared on platforms all across the internet. And if you would like to help share this out, drop me a message or an email at 509divinepines@gmail.com. 509DIVINES@gmail.com. And if there is anything more that you would like to offer, an idea, possibly if you want to, provide juices, cookies, um, anything, anything to give back to the community because the nation is about to be hurt this winter if people are missing SNAP benefits, food benefits, and I'm not immune to food benefits. I've taken them before, and I know a lot of people who do. It's a troubling thing for all of us, so I'm going to do my part. If you guys could, please share this out, donate.
So what we're gonna do now is
Individuals
get into the NBA Mafia scandal, where a bunch of NBA stars are getting in trouble for rigging games, for leaving games for the bets, controlling illegal gambling at their house, all sorts of craziness. Let's get into this. It is gonna be a wild one.
such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today. Former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families. Individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today. Former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families. Individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today. Former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI
Update on the NBA gambling scandal. This is going to be a movie. This will be a movie. The Mafia is involved. Who's back of the week? The Mafia. The Gambino family is involved, according to the FBI. The illegal poker game that Chauncey Billups is allegedly involved in included poker tables that had X-ray machines in them so they could look at the cards of their opponents. Apparently, some people had special contacts that they could look through the cards to see what cards their opponents had. Completely rigged game. Victims include people that lost $1.7 million. In total, 30 individuals have been arrested. Charges include illegal gambling, extortion, wire fraud. The sports betting side is a separate indictment. However, there are defendants that are involved in both of them. That brings us to Terry Rozier. That man's cooked. That man is very much cooked. I don't know how the NBA cleared this guy. According to the FBI, this is crazy. According to the FBI, Terry Rozier told two defendants in this case in March 2023 that he was going to leave a game early. He was going to exit the game early. So the defendants went and bet his player prop unders. Then after the game, you know what they did? They all came together and counted the money at Terry Rozier's house. If that is true, that man is cooked. You may remember Jonte Porter. Apparently, Jonte Porter was threatened to be involved in this gambling scheme because he had gambling debts. These were two separate operations by the FBI. The sports betting one is called Operation Nothing But Net. And then the poker one is called Operation Royal Flush. Operation Royal Flush has been going on for years, 4 years to be exact. Victims have lost at least $7 million. The FBI has thousands of hours of video evidence, thousands. They've reviewed it all. I wouldn't be shocked to learn that at the poker games, the people that they were following, that they were looking into, that's how they found out about the sports betting operation. They then saw, okay, they're not only doing illegal stuff here, but people that are involved in this poker game, like Damon Jones, he's telling people, hey, LeBron James is not playing in this game against the Bucks. So get the bet in now, because LeBron James, if he's out, the line's going to move. Obviously, all of these individuals are innocent until proven guilty. This is all information from the FBI in their press conference this morning. However, if that is true, some people are going to jail. Some people are going to jail. Long operation, you don't really beat the feds. Like, feds will win 99% of cases. So unless you're snitching, you are not winning.
Well, I don't know about the whole snitching to win. I do think that some people are actually smart enough to cover their tracks and the gambling things. But I will say, all of them are going down. They're all going down. And Stephen A. Smith is coming out with some stupid stuff. He's like, this is the Trump administration taking a jab that we're going woke. Like, so he's admitting that the NBA is going woke. And he thinks that this is a...
Bad Bunny is performing. How many times, for one incident after another, have I said, Trump is coming? He's coming. I'm going to say it on national television.
Ew.
Bad Bunny is performing at the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden you hearing ICE is going to be there, looking to engage in mass deportations. The Super Bowl, disrupting things. Big night for the NBA. Wembanyama put on a show. That has now been smeared because we're talking about this story. Okay. Remember, Trump has a long, long history connected to the world of sports because he had those casinos. Where do you think folks were coming half the time? I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about the culture. When people want to go to a casino, when people want to gamble, when people want to party, whatever the case may be. This was his kind of connection to that. Why am I glad you're here, Monica? Because don't be surprised that the WNBA is next on his list. Because when you've got all of these protests that have been going out there and people that have been protesting against him and what have you, this man is coming. He's coming. And I've been saying it for a long time.
Stephen, you're
And
gay.
to me, this is the latest nugget of evidence that we're talking about right here. That's not to question the legitimacy of the case. We don't know. We're all sitting up here and we're saying that we don't know. But anybody that has been around him, anybody that has talked to him, anybody that has seen his reactions from the sports leagues and the positions that people have taken, they are not surprised at what's going on today. I'm watching a press conference with the director of the FBI. Tell me when we've seen that. We've seen people, we've seen accusations before. We've seen athletes get in trouble with the law before. You don't see the director of the FBI having a press conference. It's not coincidental. It's not an accident. It's a statement. And it's a warning that more is coming. And that's what they're saying here. And everybody better, I'm just telling you, it's as serious as it gets. This ain't the platform for me to get into it the way I'm going to get into it. But I've been saying he's coming. He's coming. Because in his eyes, folks try to throw him in jail. In his eyes, he's innocent. They try to put me behind bars. I'm getting everybody. He's not playing. And so this, in a lot of people's eyes, talk to people in the NBA, talk to people in the NFL, talk to people in the world of sports. They think this is like the tip of the iceberg. These are the kind of words that are coming out of people's mouths. It's not a surprise. It's very disheartening. It's very concerning. We don't know where this is going to go. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Everybody's better brace themselves.
Well, he's right about one thing. It is the tip of the iceberg. But the thing is, Steven's trying to downplay, like, you don't know about the corruption. Like, it's not there. Like, he's not part of it, but he is. And that's why he's acting like, he's like two-sided, two facade. Like, he's telling the truth, but he ain't really telling the full truth on how his position is in this. And so but man, Stephen A is a gambler for sure, no doubt, 1,000%. So this is affecting his pockets, his money, but he has to stay neutral and balanced. So he's saying, yes, like, Trump is coming. So he's trying to be real. And like, in a way, I think Trump is, I'll be honest, I don't like the dude. The dude is, what's the word? The polarizing to the fullest, though. There is no day, that you don't look at what the decisions are being made. Like, what the what is going on? Some days you're like, that's real bad. Some days you're like, that's real good. And some days you're like, this is just a complete clown show, right? I mean, it's a full mix of it all. There's good, there's bad, there's completely WTF moments. And with that, it's the rest of the nation having to deal with that, where there is some bad, there's some good happening to the nation, and there's a lot of WTF happening to the nation. Let's continue forward.
3 of the named defendants are charged for their alleged roles in both schemes. This alleged illegal gambling operation hustled unwitting victims out of tens of millions of dollars and created a financial pipeline for La Cosa Nostra to help fund and facilitate their organized criminal activity. Victims were attracted to play alongside well-known professional athletes and coaches like Chauncey Billups, only to be unknowingly deceived through rigged shuffling machines, fixing the odds in their favor, as alleged and as you just heard from the U.S. Attorney's Office. This alleged scheme wreaked havoc across the nation, exploiting the notoriety of some and the wallets of many
Millions.
to fund the Italian crime families here in New York. 3 of the named defendants are charged for their alleged role.
So I'm wondering, is it now? Oh, dude. So, okay, they say the Italian crime families, but they're never mentioning the Jewish crime families, the Anglo-Saxon crime families. So it is a very, very racially contrived thing where they're trying to segment out who's not playing ball, I think. All right, and if you want to see proof of the NBA rigging games, here. Check this out. They called that a foul. What? How? Let's see it. Let's see it one more time. Okay, here's another one. Foul. What? How? No foul. What? No foul. What? Yo, so right there, man. That's definite proof. Okay, and we know it's New England, Boston, same thing. And if you want to know why they would rig a lot of games and sports to Boston, it's because of a few things. The very, very, very white occult people there. Like, it's like, I don't know, it's around Yale, Harvard, all these areas. Not just that. There is the MIT Science and Robotics Facility, DARPA level stuff. This is top of the nation level AI, artificial intelligence, and robotics technologies being created in this city. So they need the money there. That's why it's rigged there. And if you want to know how deep the rigging goes, I'm gonna play Operation Snow Globe after everything. So it goes to talk about how Hillary Clinton is super corrupt. We're going to continue with the NBA corruption. Check this out.
Mostly in the form of prop bets on individual player performance. The bets were placed through online sports books and also in person at casinos. The defendants relied on a network of straw bettors to place the maximum amount of bets to increase their potential profits. Most of these bets succeeded, and the intended losses were in the millions of dollars. The defendants then laundered their illegal winnings in various ways: peer-to-peer platforms, bank wires, and simple cash exchanges. The indictment details specific examples where the defendants profited from illegal gambling and illegal betting on various NBA games about the performance of players on, among other things, the Charlotte Hornets, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Toronto Rangers. Each defendant in the NBA basketball gambling case has been charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to money laundering.
Oh man, this is gonna go down as the biggest sports scandal in history, or I don't even know. Maybe a long time. Check this out.
You got 2 free throws, and LeBron comes by and taps you on the chest and whispers something to you. What did he tell you?
He said, if you miss these free throws, you know who's going to win it. What makes it worse, because we gamble at LeBron's house, me, Damon Jones, that was our group. So Damon Jones is horrible at cards. He owed me money. Every time we played them, I always used to scream out, the landlord's here. The landlord needs his rent money. So he doesn't even play in game 6. So when he whispers, you know who's going to hit it, everybody assumed it was him. I knew what he was talking about. I was balling that game, just hit the 3 to get us in overtime. And then I see Damon Jones in there stretching, and they really put the man in. And the fact that LeBron even passed him the ball is what hurt the most.
Damon Jones, who hadn't played a second all game, inserted and knocks down the winning shot.
You got 2 free throws.
So that he just admitted live on air that they gamble at LeBron's house and that they owe money, a lot of money. Check this out. We're going to keep going.
Reverend Al Sharpton has come clean about his secret past as a government informant. CBS 2's Dave Carlin tells us the activist admitted to helping the FBI bring down some of New York's most wanted.
I was not and am not a rat.
The Reverend Al Sharpton identified as confidential informant CI7, now admitting he wore a wire for the FBI. He helped the government go after boxing promoter Don King, music executives, and mobsters, including Vincent the Chin Gigante, who famously wore his robe and pajamas in public.
I was cooperating.
Sources say that cooperation likely started after he was nabbed in a drug sting caught on video. Helping the feds may have helped him. But Sharpton says he went to them because members of the mob wanted him dead.
They were threatening to kill me.
Sharpton is kicking off his
National
Action Network convention this week with headliners President Obama and Mayor de Blasio, who defended Sharpton.
I think he has done a lot of good for the city of New York and for this country.
Retired NYPD Detective Sergeant Joseph Jackalone says unmasking any confidential informant troubles him.
You never want this because we need people to help cooperate, so this is an unfortunate incident.
Sharpton said he has no...
Al Sharpton's all happy about it. He's like, yeah, man, I was doing it. I didn't feel so bad about it. And then the Fed comes like, yeah, anytime an informant gets unmasked, it's really bad. I'm kind of worried for him. Al Sharpton is the biggest idiot. I swear. I thought it was just an act, but he's a drugged up idiot. Anyways, he's admitting that he was a paid informant, so taking down, let's just say, some of these NBA gambling rings. And check this out. So you want to see more in this gambling?
Look at this shit. You just get him a signal.
KD just got the signal. He's like, nah. It's like, yeah, you gotta do it.
Can't even do it.
Nah. He's like, yeah, you gotta do it, dude. So let's see. That was like, how much seconds left on the clock? So yeah, there's a minute left. Phoenix is down by 10, so that means he would have to get the game, either choke the game or get the game within a certain point. So the over under betting 10, 11.5, whatever. Check this out. So more about LeBron James and him run the league.
People call you and say, that's LeBron. That's a fact. But bro, the moment I said anytime you say anything about Bron, people call you and say, hey man, you might want to chill. I know you got some funny stories and shit. Hey, leave LeBron alone. I'm like, God damn.
Okay.
I came on here and apologized. Sorry. I'm talking these some real people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, nigga, you funny, nigga. And you get a little too funny. All right, my fault, brother. So I know ain't nothing getting by they whole camp. They run the league. They whole camp run the league,
bro. They too plugged in.
For
I
not
can see
somebody
that.
not to know an inkling or something. I ain't say they do an all-out play. I just feel like somebody, bro. If not, then that's one of the most
Rich Paul, AD agent.
Yeah, that's one of the most covert operations in NBA history.
You gotta know.
Somebody knew something. I don't know who, what, but somebody knew something. Even if they didn't know it was gonna happen, when, what, where, why, somebody knew something, bro.
Yeah, LeBron James might be like also, I'm gonna be real, 1000%. He might be the type of individual to take body enhancing, physique enhancing, government level surgeries and operations and brain enhancing operations. Sounds crazy, but look at LeBron. That dude ain't normal.
Aaron, thank you so much for staying with us here on NBA Today. What more can you tell us about what Chauncey Billups is being accused of?
Yeah, Sinead, Chauncey Billups, according to federal prosecutors, was the lure, the mafia allegedly paying him for his celebrity to attract high rollers to poker tables in the Hamptons, in Las Vegas, in Miami, and right here in Manhattan, so they would gamble, so they would play poker. What those people didn't know was that everyone else at the table was in on the scam because the games were rigged. Chauncey Billups was known as a face card because the mafia allegedly used his face to lure in these unsuspecting victims. The victims themselves were called fish, as the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York explained in Brooklyn a short while ago.
The scheme targeted victims known as, quote, fish, who were often lured to participate in these rigged games by the chance to play alongside former professional athletes who were known as, quote, face cards. The so-called face cards included the defendant Chauncey Billups, who at the time of the scheme was a former NBA player and is currently the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, and also Damon Jones, a former NBA player and coach. What the victims, the fish, didn't know is that everybody else at the poker game, from the dealer to the players, including the face cards, were in on the scam. For example, they used off-the-shelf shuffling machines that had been secretly altered in order to read the cards in the deck, predict which player at the table had the best poker hand, and relay that information to an off-site operator.
These rigged poker games have been going on, prosecutors say, since at least 2019, and it involved these altered shuffling decks, X-ray poker tables that could read cards that were face down. There were special glasses and contact lenses that enabled players in on the scam to know what the victims' cards were, and other technology brought to bear. The victim, Shanae, had no chance at winning these games. They lost millions of dollars, and since the mob was involved, prosecutors say if the victims couldn't or wouldn't pay, that's when violence was used to make sure they did.
Thank you, Aaron, for providing this profound information and stopping by NBA Today as well. Let's.
It is gonna keep on going. I don't think that these guys are getting away. Here's Terry Rozier. Check this out. Look at him just literally over and over blow the game on purpose. Oops. Oh no. Where should I go? Oops. Oh man. Oh, oops, my bad. Yeah, not really gonna try. Yeah, bad shot. Bad shot. Yeah, bad shot. Yeah, way bad shot. Bad pass.
Empty corner two-man game. Rozier with a three. Anderson with a rebound. Rozier relocates for another try. Well, that was awfully short. Meter, and the meter's still running.
Man, oof, that's horrible. That dude just straight up acted to make it. So some of the games he would leave early and go count the money that he was making. That's crazy.
with the little school? Gary Payton is gambling. The Warriors are up now by 13 points. All is good. But what's with the little schoolgirl chatter going on right here? Why on earth would we be covering the mouth up 12 with 5 seconds? Oh, because the spread was 11.5. Look at this. He even says they might have to shoot again. Oh my God. And there's only one reason, Steph Curry, you cover your face up 12, because you're gambling, okay? So here we go. Second free throw, going to put him up 14 points, and all we have to pray for is no threes. No threes, and they cover. All right, so now the Wizards covered. The plus 11.5. Let's look in on Gary. Bro, your team just won by 11. And you're freaking out. Gary Payton, oh my God.
Dude, they're making so much money off us. They're the ones rigging the game. Check this out.
Phillips. And I had heard about the game, and the person who told me about it was like, look, I know the game runners. I'm telling you 100% this game is on the up and up. And I was like, well, I know a lot of the people that are involved, and I'm telling you 100% that it is not on the up and up.
Yeah.
And, we kind of went back and forth, and I agreed that, like, I just wasn't going to go play it. But I had some friends who went and played it both in LA and in Vegas. And it obviously, like, was for sure confirmed to be cheated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people who clearly didn't even understand the rules of No Limit Hold'em are just, like, jamming hundreds of big blinds in with like a gutty and then just drilling it. Yeah. Only the pros are losing.
Okay, that was, I'm told, from May of 2023. So what, over 2.5 years almost ago, guys were going on podcasts and they were saying, hey, this Chauncey Billups stuff is not on the up and up. There's no way these guys are winning. Turns out the Mafia was involved. According to the FBI allegations, one victim lost up to $1.8 million. Let me tell you something. There are all sorts of super high-stakes poker games going on all over the country on a regular basis. I have been invited. I am smart enough to know that I am a fish. So I work hard for my money. I have never gone to play against poker pros. I did the Poker After Dark. Some of you watched me on that. I got dunked on. I know what I'm good at. I'm good at talking. I'm good at reading and making sense of complicated things. If you go and look at test scores, like I'm a perfect side verbal test taker. I'm just good at math. I'm not great at math. And if you're a really great math player or just a mathematician, you're really good, you should be, in poker. Because you can immediately analyze the odds of every card as it is being flipped and recognize when you actually are likely to have significant advantage and when you're not. I'm smart enough to know that I'm the fish. And I don't want to just give other people money and not get anything from it. So I've never gone to these high-end poker matches. Lots of guys, it doesn't surprise me at all, would just like the experience of playing poker with Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot, or other guys who are recognizable, celebrity games, lots of money. Heck, if you can lose $1.8 million playing poker, you're super friggin' rich, right? And so they want really rich guys to come play against professional poker players. If I were a professional poker player, I'd want to play against me because you'd be very likely to win. And so I've never done it. Never played in one of these high-stakes games. But I bet there's a bunch of dudes that watch this clip, and I bet they have. And I bet some of them even may have played in the Chauncey Billups games. They said it was 11 states and thought to themselves, man, this doesn't feel on the up and up. Well, you were right.
I'm going to show you the technology. Let's see if it's here. It's here in the next few videos. But the technology is already present, so you're going to see how they did it.
Things, but after we looked at that, and it has gone. Today has gone from awful to somehow worse for the NBA, as we initially thought that Chauncey Billups was just involved in the poker side of things. But after we looked at that indictment, certainly looks like he may be involved in the sports betting scandal as well. And inside the Operation Nothing But Net indictments, we saw that co-conspirator 8, an individual whose identity is known to the grand jury, was a resident Oregon. Co-conspirator 8 was an NBA player from approximately 1997 through 2014 and an NBA coach since at least 2021. They're almost like playing Jeopardy with us. Co-conspirator 8 told Ernest before the news was publicly announced that several of the Trailblazers' best players, including player 1, an individual whose identity is known to the grand jury, would not be playing in the March 24th game. That's one day after the Terry Rozier game, by the way. The information that the Trailblazers would be tanking and not playing player 1 was not available to the public, including the betting company. So obviously, as Pablo Torres pointed out, certainly sounds like Chauncey Billups. And this is bad for the NBA. A coach telling gamblers that he knows from poker games that he wasn't going to play a certain player and that his team was tanking, that is bad. Does it mean Chauncey Billups is going away for life? No. But for the aspect of the integrity of the NBA, bad. Pair that with what Brian Windhorst said on the Rich Eisen show today. He wanted to point something out. The sportsbooks caught the irregular betting on Terry Rozier the day it happened. And guess what? Rozier didn't play the rest of that season. And he had faked the injury. So it wasn't the cause of the injury. The NBA pulled him. The quote doesn't really make sense. I think he's saying like, oh, it wasn't because of the injury that he didn't play. It was because the NBA told him you're not playing for the rest of the season. Windhorst went on to say that Damon Jones and Chauncey Billups used their positions as coaches of teams to tell people who may be available. By the way, Damon Jones, go check it out who he's heavily involved with. The King, LeBron James. That's more conspiracy stuff. Let's keep it down the middle. Windhorst was then asked by Eisen as a follow-up to clarify that Billups' alleged involvement goes beyond poker matches, and Windhorst said, yes.
Remember the video of Damon Jones just hitting the shot against Gilbert Arenas because LeBron James said he's going to do it because, Damon Jones owed him money for some of that gambling that he's just talking about. So this is all out in the open. These guys are idiots. So these NBA dudes are no worse than the rappers, bro. I apologize. These rap superstars are absolutely gone. They're murdering people and talking about it in their songs. But these NBA guys, no, they're dumb too. They're not street smart. They're not even smart. They're just dumb. Like they're pulling illegal gambling and talking about it live on the open podcast, and then bam, like, first of all, don't do anything illegal against anyone, especially your own community or in your own country. If you're gonna do something illegal, go to another country, man. Like, F off. Second, and third of all, like, why are you just airing everything that's very super illegal? Oh yeah, I shot this one, them. We're doing this and gambling and this gambling. Like, what the? You guys are idiots.
Game March 24th, 2023. That was a game between the Blazers and the Nuggets. Blazers lost by 28. Jeremy Grant was not available. Dame wasn't available. Nurkic and Simons were not available. This is all crazy. This could get bad for the NBA. It's not like the NBA will cease to exist, but this is not good. If they swept things under the rug, not good at all. Chauncey Billups' last words at his press conference last night were, "I let the chips fall where they may." And then he was arrested this morning.
So Chauncey Billups was a live coach, but not anymore.
It was all built around Chauncey Billups.
Dude, it's insane. So we're going to keep on going. Court documents reveal the details of LeBron James' injury were sold by his friend Damon Jones prior to a 2023 game against the Milwaukee Bucks. Damon Jones told his ring to place a bet on the Bucks before LeBron James' status because LeBron James was injured, but the public didn't know yet. And, well, instead of playing against the Bucks, he didn't. So Damon Jones was telling people before everyone found out, hey, hey, go bet for the Bucks. Even though at the time it would have been stupid. They're like, oh, LeBron James is going to play and beat him. No. Well, yeah. Damon Jones is arrested by the FBI. Also, FBI agents arrest Scott Foster at 6 a.m. outside his home in Silver Springs, Maryland. Foster is being charged with manipulating game outcomes for most of his 30-year tenure.
So wild. Stephen A. Smith, the sports commentator, suggested that this was revenge from the president for all the kind of left-wing activism of the NBA. Your response to that, 15 seconds.
I'm the FBI director. I decide which arrests to conduct and which not to conduct. That may be the single dumbest thing I've ever heard out of anyone in modern history, and I live most of my time in Washington, D.C. It's right up there with Adam Schiff. We arrest people for crimes.
Yeah, down the street. By the way, this was so wild.
Because these NBA stars were working with, I don't know, some shady people to literally steal millions. I mean, not just 10 million, like hundreds of millions over these spans of years. It is pretty wild. It seems like there's more referees being taken out. Look at this.
An SEC ref, Ken Williamson, was permanently suspended. The decision to remove the longtime referee comes in the immediate wake of an SEC review of 11 complaints against Williamson, from the Auburn-Georgia game. Now, I believe it was last year on Thursday Night Football, you were calling the Vikings game against the Rams in L.A., and that game kind of ended controversially with the face mask of Darnold. I don't know if it was Thursday Night Football, but it might. It was, yeah. Okay, yeah, I thought so. Something like this seems to be incredibly forward-thinking, if you will, when it comes to the referee situation, and there's been others as well. But when you see something like this that the SEC is doing, do you think that is something that will ever be kind of universally done by sports, not just the NFL, not just college football, but all sports across the board? The MLB, the MLB umpire during the Blue Jays Mariners game was kind of scrutinized for the same pitch, one being called a ball, the other being called a strike. And then there are situations that pop up all over when it comes to refs in sports. What do you kind of think about that situation? And also, real quick, thanks for coming on and talking to the Bugle boys. We know this show sucks without Pat, so you coming on actually makes it much better. We very much appreciate that, Kirk.
Man, I'll join you guys anytime. I love you guys. I would say, I don't know how you feel about this, Connor. I look at this where I don't mind, the bang play at first base without going to replay. I don't mind the human error. I don't mind, and I've had my teams, that I cheer for get the bad end of that. But I think there's certain calls that I think that's part of the game, where before the replay, or a guy makes it's a call in the gray area, and it could go this way or that way, and it goes against you, and it's the end of the world. With that being said, that's kind of like the way I always grew up, and just, it's part of the game. I hate blaming referees or umpires for games.
Amen.
But with that being said, I do think that if a guy has consistently had rough outings where a league or a conference has to call a coach or call an athletic director and basically apologize for a miss, and that happens at a regular rate, then I think this is, as you said, groundbreaking. Can you guys remember anything like this?
No.
A guy in the middle of a season is asked to take a seat? I've never heard of anything like that. I think it's holding. You talk about holding players and coaches and everybody accountable. Referees have always never really had to deal with that. Maybe in the off season, but not in season. So I think it's an eye opener. I'm a referee guy. I'm pro referee. I think fans get way too emotional about it, but. I'm interested to see what this leads to, and if we end up, this is kind of like that first example, and now you start to see it more and more, not just in college football, but all around sports.
Yeah, I think there's too much money at hand to let people manipulate sports, mafias, players, even government. I know it sounds wild, but like there's way too much money. People can become multi-mega millionaires just within a matter of minutes or weeks because of this rigging.
One of our officials, and you do believe Allen Iverson.
And so it's, the players that are rigging, the refs that are also rigging, punishing, like it's
Knew this, and I believe all the players know this, that certain referees treat them much better than others.
Donaghy told us that 2 years ago, Iverson had incurred the wrath of the refs.
He had threatened one of our officials, and the NBA fined him $25,000, and we felt as a group that he should have been suspended. And because he wasn't, we felt like we would teach him a lesson.
During that time, you worked an Iverson game January 6, 2007, so you bet against Iverson's team.
Correct.
Because you knew that all the refs were gunning for him. This was openly discussed.
Openly discussed. And I knew that the other two referees and I sought out to do a little justice of our own.
The refs quickly called curious fouls on Iverson, including rarely called fouls for palming.
And Iverson still upset about that palming call.
They threw his game off, and his team lost. According to the game's announcers, even late in the game, you kept hurting Iverson's team by letting defenders bludgeon him without calling any fouls. Watch.
Tim Donaghy will not call a foul when Iverson goes to basket. About 3 in a row where he got to the basket, got fouled, we thought, no call.
What are we looking at?
We're looking at a foul that was let go. Obviously, in the pregame meetings, we came to the conclusion that we were not going to give Allen Iverson any marginal plays to the basket. And that absolutely should have been called a foul that I and the other referees passed on.
Did anyone in the NBA know about it?
There was a group supervisor at the game that came in at halftime who was laughing and stated that he felt that Iverson had gotten the message.
So the supervisor approved of your punishing Iverson?
Yes.
The NBA would not let that supervisor or any of its refs talk to us. In that game, Donaghy did make calls that helped him win his bet, but he insists that wasn't the point. He says all he wanted to do was punish Iverson. But yes, he did win his bet. Special Agent Philip Scala, who retired from the FBI last year, told us Donaghy would bet on a game when he knew who the refs were and that they felt strongly about certain players.
That's insane. So all of them are part of the betting. The players, the coaches, the refs. And here is how the mafia, the Italian mafia, with their technology and their money, and NBA players were going and having poker games against rich poker stars or rich people and winning all the time. Here, check it out. Boom, the glasses and the cards. So they see what cards are there. And pretty much, oh my god, dude. With sunglasses and hidden symbols on the back, you can just see, and and you're gonna win. And check this out. Even the players would laugh about it mid-game. It's like 5.5. I know what y'all doing. Watch, woman. 5.5. I know what y'all doing. And then Rudy's up there is kind of like, oh shit, okay, yeah, he kind of alright. I know he knows. So, and then guess what? The NBA fined him. So the refs fined Draymond Green, the reffing officiation crew, fined him because he was admitting the truth. And so now we're gonna go ahead and get into this sky experiment exposure, the war against the sky. The government just announced a full public release of everything the government knows about geoengineering and atmospheric spraying, ending years of secrecy, denial, and ridicule for everyone who said that they were spraying our skies. Well, now the government even admitted it. For decades, concerned citizens were mocked and silenced, branded as conspiracy theorists for questioning what they could see. That era is over. The government and administration that is now in charge demanded full transparency and it pledged to share every document, study, and internal record on contrails, solar geoengineering, and atmospheric modification. This isn't just another bureaucratic report, it's a historic admission that something very real has been happening above our heads, and that Americans deserve the truth. If pollutants or chemicals are being tested or released into the atmosphere, the people have a right to know. The days of silence are ending. The sky will no longer be the limit. It will be the evidence.
Geoengineering and urgent. Concerned Americans have urgent and important questions about geoengineering and contrails. The American public deserves and expects honesty and transparency from their government when seeking answers. But for years, people who asked questions in good faith were dismissed, even vilified by the media and their own government. That era is over. The Trump EPA is committed to total transparency. As a result, I tasked my team at EPA to compile a list of everything we know about contrails and geoengineering for the purpose of releasing it to you now publicly. In other words, I want you to know everything I know about these topics and without any exception. Instead of simply dismissing these questions and concerns as baseless conspiracies, we're meeting them head on. We did the legwork, looked at the science, consulted agency experts, and pulled in relevant outside information to put these online resources together. Everything we know about contrails to solar geoengineering will be in there. That means anyone who reads through this information will know as much about these topics as I do as EPA administrator. To anyone who's ever looked up to the streaks in the sky and asked, what the heck is going on? Or seen headlines about private actors and even governments looking to blot out the sun in the name of stopping global warming? We've endeavored to answer all of your questions at the links on your screen. In fact, EPA shares many of the same concerns when it comes to potential threats to human health and the environment, especially from solar geoengineering activities. The enthusiasm for experiments that would pump pollutants into the high atmosphere has set off alarm bells here at the Trump EPA. Prior to now, EPA has never been this proactive to raise awareness about concerns with geoengineering and to stop this activity from being scaled up. This is what it looks like when government actually listens to the will of the people and doesn't try to squash it. You can always trust this administration and this EPA to take your concerns seriously, answer your questions honestly, and carry out the will of voters with integrity.
When I asked about it, somebody told me that it was a political stunt, that it had no practical significance. It was purely symbolic. I mean, look, if it was a political stunt, it was a very stupid political stunt, and I personally take some insult to it. The West Bank is not going to be annexed by Israel. The policy of the Trump administration is that the West Bank will not be annexed by Israel. That will continue to be our policy. And if people want to take symbolic votes, they can do that. But we certainly weren't happy about it. When I asked about it, somebody told me that it was a political stunt, that it had no practical.
Organs harvested from patients that are still moving. I heard that from a congressional hearing last week. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, it's a horror story. And part of it is because of the capture of the agency that was regulating ORR. The board that was actually regulating organ harvesting was overlapping with the contractor that was actually harvesting the organs. And it was done state by state. Some of the states were just truly, it was a nightmare. And it was sickening to read these stories. They had one instance where a family was waiting at the hospital for the body of their deceased relative. The relative was brought to one of these private organ harvesting centers, awoke while they were harvesting her organs, and then was brought back to the hospital where she died eventually. But the family, brought litigation, and that's the only reason that we learned of this story. We've done a complete investigation of that company. We've taken the contract away from that company, and we're reorganizing it so that we will be regulating it and running it directly at HHS, and this will never happen again.
We're like diamonds in the sky. You're a shooting star, I see. A vision of ecstasy. When you hold me, I'm alive. We're like diamonds in the sky. I knew that we could come on right away. Oh, right away. At first sight, I felt energy of sun rays. I saw the light inside your eyes. Tonight, you and I were beautiful like diamonds in the sky. I too are so alive. We're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. We're beautiful like diamonds.
Savage. A lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Hey everyone, so I'm heading to Capitol Hill. Just got off the metro. Okay, so they all, but I figured something out. Okay, I think I understand why this shutdown is happening. Because I've been scratching my head like, why would the Democrats be shutting down the government, depriving federal workers in the military of basically pay and food, and then depriving the military of their health care through TRICARE? I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would you be so hell-bent on this? And I don't think it has anything to do with the talking points that, oh, it's the far left radicals. No, it has nothing to do with that. That they're against Trump. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fucking insurance companies. So I found out these people, even though the government shut down, because of the ACA, their payments every month are coming directly from the Treasury to their bank accounts. So the insurance companies, United Healthcare, Aetna, Molina, Kaiser, they are getting paid right now, mandatory pay every single month, while the federal workers and the military get nothing. And so now it's finally making sense. This has nothing to do with healthcare. It has to do with dark money from the billion-dollar insurance companies. Because keep in mind, if they lose the ACA credits for next year, they're not going to get any of that money. They won't get any of that money. So even though the tax credits are tax credits, what actually happens is these tax credits get paid on behalf of you, the insured, and they go directly to the insurance companies. So that's why the Democrats are fighting so hard on this. It has nothing to do with people's premiums. It has to do with the fucking insurance companies not getting billions and billions and billions of dollars in January and next year. So what finally occurred to me this morning, and that's what took me so long, I had to do research to figure out how those tax credits were paid. But this shutdown, it's about them. It's about the billion-dollar insurance companies. And so everyone in at least the talking points of the Democrats are like, oh, the premiums are going to go up. Why don't you hold the insurance companies accountable? These are not market rates. They're setting the premiums. They're the ones that are deciding to keep human beings without health care. That has nothing to do with what the government does. If anything, the government's making worse. The problem is the insurance companies. They're setting the premiums, they're setting the rates, and then their providers are setting, that they own, they fucking own the hospitals, and the providers are setting these obscene rates for procedures. And so then they're making money off of the hospitals. This entire shutdown has nothing to do with healthcare and everything to do with the billion-dollar corporations, United Healthcare, Aetna, Kaiser, Molina. They are the ones that are keeping the government shut down right now. And this is how dangerous it is to have dark money from corporations like them involved with our politicians, and this is why the entire government is shut down right now. And I finally figured it out, because I just couldn't get it. Why would the Democrats do this unless the insurance companies are threatening to not fund their re-election next year? And there it is. This is all about health insurance companies and not about people trying to access health care. Because if you were trying to get people to access health care and you wanted to make it cheaper, then you force the insurance companies to quit raising their premiums, and you put a cap on what those premiums are every year.
She seems a lot smarter than me in that subject. Yeah, I'm just learning a lot about the healthcare industry. Oh, sorry about that. We're gonna keep going.
Yeah, we definitely know that our witnesses are.
Oh shit! Sorry.
So that DIA, it gets gutted for whatever reason.
By who?
But it's usually the staff that's taking it out for whatever reason. These like little, I call them little trouble goblins. They pop up and they'll gut the legislation for disclosure. Or
who tells them to do that? Someone
I think it's a lot with the intelligence community, 100%, or DOD. Whoever's. It's definitely internal though, because there have been Representative Burchett tried to come up with a FAA reporting procedure for the UAP. They wouldn't put it on the floor, and then the UAP Disclosure Act was watered down and gutted. Schumer tried to push for that in the Senate, and it was like completely just rolled. So there's definitely an effort, which is why I think that this Age of Disclosure movie coming out is so important, because you have multiple people coming forward that have legitimate credentials. They can't just be like, oh, it's, Luna talking about crazy UAPs again, or Burchett or Burleson. It's, when you have this Secretary of State up there, a little bit hard to argue with.
Oof. So this is on all levels. Things are being shaken. It seems like all the right people are in all the right places. Not Donald Trump exactly. What I'm saying, but like these other people are they the ones who are willing to fight
Director of
for
National
things
Intelligence,
that are
National
very,
Count-
very
Mr. President, under your
dear.
leadership, for the first time, there is a newly created National Intelligence Fusion Cell at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, National Counterterrorism, that has a very simple purpose: to make sure that we have two-way intelligence sharing of actionable information between the intelligence community and law enforcement. And I'll say the last example I'll share is probably the most insidious, was providing intelligence to the Mexican law enforcement that led to the arrest of a CJNG cartel-affiliated baby trafficker called La Diabla. Her whole money-making operation was centered around luring pregnant women, performing illegal C-sections, harvesting organs, and selling newborn babies. Mr. President, it's your leadership that has made all of this possible. Mr. President, under your leadership, for the first time,
That's the most horrific thing, and I don't know what I would do if I saw that type of person in front of me and I knew exactly what they were doing to people or trying to do to people. Because I don't know, man. That's something I'm willing to fight against on all levels. Like, that's crazy. Like, demonic. Call herself La Diabla, demonic. Just 100% demonic. And that's what some of these occults or cartels or gangs or militias or just there's groups of people out there. How about that? Doesn't matter what they are, who they are, what they're part of. There are groups of people out there that are into this wickedness, and we must fight against this as a community. And here's a Chinese man coming to America telling us something.
Back in 2017, if you go to China, they're piloting it a few years ago in Shenzhen. So I lived overseas. If you go to Shenzhen, back in 2017, they already had facial recognition cameras there. So if you jaywalked in Shenzhen, they would immediately detect that and send you a notification, and they would deduct money from your what they call WeChat account. They use two main apps, WeChat and Alipay. So you can actually deduct your money directly from your account. This is 4 years ago, so this is not like some sort of conspiracy theory. It's not something that's going to happen 10 years into the future. This happened pre-corona in China. And so this system in China that exists is extremely advanced. They can detect if it's a man or a woman. They can guess your age. They can detect what kind of car model it is, who the manufacturer is. This is a sort of technology that we see in all these dystopian sort of films and whatever. And people keep putting it off and thinking that this is something that's going to happen later in my kids' lifetime or my grandkids. It's already here. And if this gets implemented anywhere, especially in a Western nation, it's not going away. Israel is already talking about the fourth shot. Then they're going to be going to herpes, and they're going to ask if you're gay. They're going to be asking if you ate 3 pizzas this week because it's unhealthy. If you buy certain books in certain countries, your country doesn't like you. You'll lose points in the social credit score system. So this is already the reality of the world in certain places, and we need to be aware of that if we don't want that or if we do. And to be perfectly honest, anybody who wants this vaccine passport, it's a misnomer. It's total control. Everything you do or don't do will be calculated to the point where if they can detect your GPS signal, if you have a phone on you, they can detect who you're hanging out with. Oh, you're hanging out with somebody that said something bad 9 years ago on Weibo, okay, like a Chinese equivalent to Facebook or something like that, right? Oh, you lose 2 points. Oh, you bought Japanese books, you lose 5 points because you don't like Japan. This is what is going to come here because it's already there.
And we're doing that a little bit with contact tracing for COVID, aren't we? So that they can see where you're at and who you're with.
The simple reality is that the technology that CSIS has and all these big tech corporations, they already know where you are. It's just that they don't want to shock the system too much and admit that they have it. Edward Snowden revealed all this back in 2013. He fled to Hong Kong. They wouldn't keep him there, so now he's in Russia. Yeah. But the NSA has all of your information. They know your Google searches from like February 9th, 2004 in a bunker in Colorado.
Help me, Rhonda.
Right. They have all this information. So, but they don't, like in the US, they have the Fourth Amendment. They're not supposed to track you forever.
So this is a Chinese man coming to America and saying, "Hey, man, and I come from China. I know what it is. Do not fall for it." So like that, all the facial recognition, like here in Yakima Valley, Washington State, all the flock cameras, Palantir, that's fed. It's so bad. Yeah, man, this is pretty interesting right here. This is Hillary Clinton and Operation Snow Globe. He's CEO Patrick Byrne reveals how he worked with the FBI to arrange a $18 million bribe to Hillary Clinton from a foreign government to allow the deep state to control her in 2016. Just insanity, because I just went through a whole hour of how the NBA players, officials, and everyone was rigged, and then now even all these guys, they're all rigged. They're all rigged. Politicians, we all know the politicians were rigged. There's nothing new on that, but dude, like, okay, let's listen.
Why they did not, I know what's in the Durham report, and I'm going to say it here. I bribed Hillary Clinton $18 million. I facilitated a bribe for Hillary Clinton on January 14th, 2016, right here in this town. On behalf of the FBI, they came to me around December 1st, 2015. They told me Hillary Clinton had accepted a bribe from Turkey for $20 million. They told me that I would be working for a group in New York, FBI agents, who had authorization to set Hillary Clinton up in a sting. They asked me to facilitate a bribe for her, an $18 million bribe from another government. The bag man from that other government I was to befriend, and I was to get that person 10 minutes alone in a room with Hillary Clinton. I did. On January 14th, 2016, Hillary Clinton was in this town, and she met in a way that was kept off her schedule. She accepted an $18 million bribe. But General Barr knows this. This is the Durham. They know this was what is behind it all. And I'll even tell you, I'm going to drop one more thing. I've been waiting to say this publicly, and this is what really happened. I will tell you, if you hear this and you give me 90 seconds, your viewers will understand what's happened in the last 5 years in America. I've been waiting to say this on mainstream TV, and they will not have me back, because once they understood what this was about. I had Hillary Clinton, I caused Hillary Clinton, I facilitated a bribe, and she took a second bribe for $18 million. And I worked with the FBI as I did that. They're deeply involved in this. They came to me 3 days later and told me I had to forget about it and forget that it ever happened. And I said, what are you talking about? And they gave me one excuse. They said, Hillary's going to win, and it's been decided upstairs. Nothing's going to be able to stop that now. So she's going to win, and she's going to send her people over to the FBI and ask who was part of investigating Hillary, and any of us who were part of it are going to be destroyed, and that includes you too, Patrick. And so this mission has been scrubbed from the highest level. And I thought about that, and I said, yes, sir, and I came. But 2 or 3 weeks later, I was back with 3 federal agents this time. 3 federal agents, and I let them know that wasn't sitting, and this is in Salt Lake City, Utah, and that wasn't sitting well with me, and I'd like to know why. We had almost a year before the election. They could have had me and another person in front of a grand jury in a week and gotten her indicted. And they told me, and this is the key to understanding what's happened in America. They told me, this is word for word, Patrick, what's really going on is this. President Obama has his people across the federal bureaucracy at this point, but especially the Department of Justice. Hillary Clinton is going to be president for 8 years, and nothing's going to change that. But think of there being a Bunsen burner within the Department of Justice. That evidence about the 2 bribes you were part of gathering is going to be sitting on the Bunsen burner. And the hand on the Bunsen burner is going to be one of Barack Obama's people. If Hillary's a good girl and defends Obamacare, that flame stays low. If she's a bad girl and thinks for herself, it's going to get turned up high. That way, Barack Obama is going to manage Hillary Clinton for the 8 years she's president, and then she's going to step down, and Michelle's going to run. And Patrick, that's the plan. That came out of the lips of a federal agent. It was confirmed to me this spring. The Durham investigation has that plan was called the Operation Snow Globe. That was Brendan Obama's name for it. Snow Globe, they were trying to get Hillary to step into a snow globe. I'm looking for a prop. A snow globe that anytime they wanted, they could then pick up and shake for 8 years. My bribe was the bait to get her to step into the snow globe. That's all from it. This isn't a theory. I'm the guy in the room. I'm acknowledging took part in all this, and I thought I was helping them conduct federal law enforcement. It turned out that I was helping them set up Hillary Clinton for a deep state to control her. That's why, and I came in public a year ago with some pictures that showed me with this Russian redhead, Maria Butina, lovely woman, that said, and so I'm saying this entire thing, this last 5 years, has been a coup. It was from Obama against Hillary, that when Trump won in a fluke, it got morphed into the Russian collusion delusion. And I say that as the guy they had romancing Maria and bribing Hillary Clinton. So I'm about as involved in this as you can get, and I promise you that's exactly what happened. And what we're seeing here is the last act play out. I was the last act play out. And the reason I mentioned that I knew in October 2018 that this was going to happen was because in 2018 I was offered, a federal agent came to tell me, Patrick, you need to understand there are billionaires walking around this world that we made, and we're prepared to do the same for you. You just have to stay calm. You just have to stay quiet through the election. And by that election, I knew he meant 2020 election. So I've known that they were going to hijack this election since October of 2018.
It's insane. It seems like there's a lot of big role players and they're able to control the nation.
If you go to China,
These guys
Yeah,
are
we definitely know
literally
that our witnesses.
able to control the nation and all of our money. I'm gonna go down to a last documentary down here, and that is it for the night. Here it is. Well, it's this is between Jay Dyer and Alex Jones. So here's a 25-minute talk to finish off the night, and after this I will log off. So thank you guys for being here.
The Hitler character after World War I to build it up to launch another war later.
Yeah, that's what Quigley's basically saying about World War II. And in the book, there's a whole chapter called the Dual Appeasement Plan, where the British elites were meeting with Hitler regularly through Ribbentrop. They had a conduit there. They were bringing Ribbentrop into these secret Astor-Cliveden set meetings, and they were saying, we're not going to oppose you when you go into Czechoslovakia, when you go into Poland. So they were telling Hitler one thing, but they were telling the public another thing. So,
and that's Neville Chamberlain, and that's why later, once the war fully starts, the Weissfuhrer, Rudolf Hess, flies, parachutes out of the palace with the secret peace treaty.
Because they had duped him. Yeah. They thought we've got people on your side. It was, like a QAnon type of thing.
Well, they were going to put Edward VIII on the throne of the EU.
Who was a Nazi, right?
Yep. That's the King of England, by the way.
Yeah. And all of that ended up being a double cross. So I think they used...
And again, British intelligence even used the king to double cross him.
The same bank that Alan Dulles was a brother of Secretary of State Dulles was a former director of Schroeder Bank in New York, an associate of Frank Tiark's, and a partner in the Schroeder Bank of London in 1902, director of the Bank of England, as well as Lazard Brothers Bank and the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. It will be noted that Schroeder Bank in Cologne is who helped arrange Hitler's accession to power in 1933. So you'll notice that nobody talks about the fact that it's not just industrialists in the West, IG Farben and that kind of stuff, that supported the rise of Hitler to have a world war, to have a big European world war. It was also the Bank of England. It was also, again, the British elite said, you can have $3 billion of Czech gold when you go and take the Czechoslovakian loot. We will not oppose you. Take it, have it. Also, Quigley says the Bank of France continued to give loans and to support to Hitler throughout this time period early on in his rise to power when he was beginning his...
And that's just like them putting Saddam Hussein in 79 and having him attack Iran in the Iran-Iraq war and then setting him up and removing him. It's the same story over and over again. We're not saying Saddam or Hitler are good. The point is they're being set up.
Exactly. But you'll notice, if you understand the Fabian socialist model and that Lord Rothschild was promoting Fabian socialism and theosophy through Lord Milner, through this model, that's not different than this. It's the same socialist model. It's just different flavors. Is it going to be more of a British imperial flavor, more of a Zionist flavor, more of a Chinese flavor? Everybody has a sort of global order model. So there's competing global order models. But Tragedy and Hope mentions that the banking elite in the West and an industrial elite as well essentially planned the two world wars. First of all, World War I was about creating the League of Nations. So as you know, a lot of these texts talk about creating forms of global governance. Well, the League of Nations was the first attempt at that, and it wasn't very successful because there was a lot of U.S. backlash. A lot of senators, congressmen in the U.S. opposed the idea of the League of Nations. The papacy, by the way, under Benedict XV, supported the League of Nations. That's in J.N.D. Kelly's Oxford History of the Popes. But the banking elite decided that, okay, well, if this isn't going to work with this World War I scenario, we need another giant global conflict. And Michael Hoffman has a book that's also good on Hitler as a destroyer of Europe, destroyer of millions of European, and eventually when he goes against the Russians, millions of Russians died. So I don't see Hitler as this hero figure or the savior figure. He believed in Malthusian depopulation views. He believed in, many of his elite believed in satanic stuff like Himmler.
Well, I mean, Milner didn't particularly, they envisioned a Hitler character after World War I to build it up to launch another war later.
Yeah, that's what Quigley's basically saying about World War II. And in the book, there's a whole chapter called the Dual Appeasement Plan, where the British elites were meeting with Hitler regularly through Ribbentrop. They had a conduit there. They were bringing Ribbentrop into these secret Astor-Cliveden set meetings, and they were saying, we're not going to oppose you when you go into Czechoslovakia, when you go into Poland. So they were telling Hitler one thing, but they were telling the public another thing.
And that's Neville Chamberlain, and that's why later, once the war fully starts, the Vice Fuhrer, Rudolf Hess, parachutes out of the palace with the secret peace treaty.
Because they had duped him. Yeah, they thought we've got people on your side. It was, like a QAnon type of thing.
Well, they were going to put Edward VIII on the front of the EU.
Who was a Nazi, right?
Yep. That's the King of England, by the way.
Yeah. And all of that ended up being a double cross. So I think they used...
And again, British intelligence even used the king to double cross him.
Yeah, they double crossed Hitler, telling him that they would support him. And the Bank of England, as we'll see in a second here, that's who funded...
That'd be a triple cross, too, because they said, we're secretly going to double cross. Then they triple crossed.
Yeah. Well, look at this. It says... This is Quigley saying as he's reading the CFR archives. He says... He's talking about the right-wing John Birch Society view. He says that they don't really have it all right. They think it's a lot of communists and people in Moscow and stuff like that. It's not really communists in Moscow. He says this myth, like all fables, does have some truth to it. There does exist and has existed for many generations an international Anglophile network, and that doesn't mean white people. It's talking about this elite network of
British
royalty as well as the Rothschilds too.
The British nobility.
Yes. They are very radical, and it says that the right believes that it's communist. In fact, this network we identify as the roundtable groups. It has no aversion to cooperating with communists, and this is why people get confused, or with any other groups, and that includes fascists or monarchists. It doesn't matter. They could collaborate with whoever. It frequently does so. I know of the operation of this network because I have studied it for 20 years, and I was permitted for 2 years in the 60s to examine its papers and its secret records. That's why that book is unique. Now, every time I quote this, I get these idiots who say, well, are you a fan of Carol Quigley? Why are you promoting Carol Quigley? I'm not promoting him. I'm citing his book because I disagree with him. I mean, you can read people that you disagree with.
This is Bill Clinton's mentor, top political scientist, who says, I believe the world needs to know this. He writes a 1,300-page book or whatever it is, explaining that we should all adopt this.
Yeah, he says, I have no aversion to their plans. That's Quigley quote. He says, he's not a critic of it. He's a promoter of it. He thinks this is the best hope for the world. Roundtable groups have already been mentioned in this book several times in connection with the British Commonwealth. That was Lord Curtis's plan for global government. He says it's all the same plan. In America, this is the Eastern Seaboard Establishment, he says, and they're not totally secret. They're semi-secret. The roundtable groups were semi-secret discussion forums, lobbying groups organized by Lord Curtis, Philip Kerr, and he goes on to talk about Lord Milner, Lord Stead, all these different
And Winston Churchill, who was half American in his 3-part series, History of the English-Speaking Peoples, it promotes all this too. Mm-hmm. Have you read the last book in there? It basically promotes all this.
I've not seen that, no. So let's look at some of the elite families that he lists. This is page 52 early on in the text. We're going to go back a little bit. This is Quigley and Hitler goaded to attack. Again, there's a whole chapter called Dual Appeasement, Dual Strategy that covers the whole double cross of Hitler stuff. But on page 52, it says this influence and this prestige throughout universities, etc. The names of these banking families are those familiar to all of us and should be more so. the Barings, the Lazards, the Erlanger, the Warburgs, the Schroders, the Seligman, the Spires, Mirabeau, that's the French, Mallet, Food, Rothschild, Morgan. So it's not just one group of people. Some of those bankers are Catholic. Some of them are Jewish. Some of them are Protestant.
And Time Magazine had him as a great guy, man of the year.
Yeah, they were promoting him in America because they were part of the same network and they wanted the war. That's what I'm trying to say is like, you don't get a giant world war without decades of planning. People think that wars just happen. Oh, it's just no. Wars happen because they're planned years ahead of time.
And the globalist intelligence agencies had infiltrated all the Nazis. And they had their Enigma machines very early. It was all, they didn't control Hitler, but they had him set up.
Yeah, it was a pawn. He was a dupe. Yeah.
Yeah, Hitler was a loser. Hitler was a dupe. Not some, champion. We'll be right back.
Yeah, so going back to Tiny Mustache Man, to Hitler himself, Quigley has this amazing discussion here. I think it's 1059, 1049. I can't see it. But he says that the same bank that Allen Dulles was a brother of Secretary of State Dulles, was a former director of Schroeder Bank in New York, an associate of Frank Tiark's, and a partner in the Schroeder Bank of London in 1902, director of the Bank of England, as well as Lazard Brothers Bank and the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. It will be noted that Schroeder Bank in Cologne is who helped arrange Hitler's accession to power in 1933. So you'll notice that nobody talks about the fact that it's not just industrialists in the West, IG Farben and that kind of stuff that supported the rise of Hitler to have a world war, to have a big European world war. It was also the Bank of England. It was also, again, the British elite said, you can have $3 billion of Czech gold when you go and take the Czechoslovakian loot. We will not oppose you. Take it, have it. Also, Quigley says the Bank of France continued to give loans and to support to Hitler throughout this time period early on in his rise to power when he was beginning.
And that's just like them saying it in 79 and having him attack Iran and the Iran-Iraq war and then setting him up and removing him. It's the same story over and over. We're not saying Saddam or Hitler are good. The point is they're being set up.
Exactly. Now, the people talk about the Kalergi plan, and it comes up in Quigley. So there is something to this. I read Kalergi's book, Practical Idealism, that he wrote in 1925.
People don't know that's the Japanese/European royal that want to replace the migration.
Yes, Count Coudenhove Kalergi, and he wrote a book called Practical Idealism. You can buy it right now. It's not very long. They presented him and I think Lord Lionel Curtis's plans to the Royal Society in the 1930s, I think, and they both agreed that we'll use a combination of the Curtis plan, the Commonwealth of God, which was a socialist global government plan, and we'll use Kalergi's plan to destroy the indigenous existing people groups of Europe. So they explicitly, that's in Anglo-American establishment where Quigley admits.
They bring in a ton of Muslims and North Africans. Yeah. Europeans will really stop fighting with each other over their German and French. Now they'll really be worried about this.
Well, but General Wesley Clark said the same thing, that it's time to destroy the existing people group and just have a big homogenous blob. So that's explicitly what the Kalergi plan is. He says in the book, we'll do that. And then in the 1981 text from Quigley, he says that this plan was originally Cecil Rhodes, and if you read the whole book, he says it was Rhodes with Rothschild money, coming up with the idea for a society of the elect, and it would be patterned on the Jesuits, not the Jesuits that run it. It's just structured and patterned on.
And Hitler fashioned the SS after the Jesuits.
Yep. So they take those patterns of how it's organized. It doesn't mean that the Jesuits run everything, but the secret society would be the Society of the Elect. It would have an outer circle known as the Association of Helpers, with an inner society of the elect. The real power would be exercised by the leader and a junta of 3. This is a long time ago. This is like back in 1900 when they were setting this up. This is not the way things run now, but this was this original plan of Rothschild and Rhodes to create a Fabian socialist world government. There's a whole book on it, really good, called Fabian Socialist Conspiracy by Johann Rothschild.
But here's a microcosm. We knew this even before they stole the election in 2020. Roger Stone predicted it. But now we know from the whistleblower, the White House Chief of Staff, that it was a committee of 5 that ran the auto pin, and Biden, and it was Hillary, Biden, and then 3 other people from different factions. And then that Biden's wife was the 5th, and then she would be there as like the tiebreaker. And it was a committee. And that's how they want the Vatican now, is why they're getting issues to popes now stepping down, but and having two popes at once. It's all part of that.
Yeah, like committees, steering committees. He says on the next page here that during this period, this was the dream of Cecil Rhodes. There's also a last will and testament of Cecil Rhodes, which again, it's all Rothschild money that's behind that. This roundtable group has been called by various names, depending on the phase in which it was examined. Has been called the Crowd by the Times. Has been called Chatham House, All Souls, Cliveden Set. It's the same group. Or Milner's Kindergarten, the roundtable group, and the various associations of helpers. This is all the people at Oxford, Cambridge. That's the professors who are aiding as the outer circle of the inner circle, which is the people that we're talking about. So there's a small group of inner society people. And when George Orwell wrote his book, 1984, there's the inner party and the outer party. The outer party are the dupes, the people that believe they're really working to create some help.
That's how any of these intelligence agencies or cults work.
Yeah, exactly. Concentric circles, basically, plans within plans. The idea of, out of the Dune series, Frank Herbert.
Wheels within wheels.
Exactly. The Society of the Elect continue to exist and recruit new members. Since 1920, this group has been dominated by the assistant Viscount Astor, misnamed Cliveden Set, etc., Milner Group. So by the time of Milner and by the time of later British government's Labour Party, it becomes explicitly aligned with this Fabian socialist, or what's in the UK, it's Labour Party. So Keir Starmer is this. So he's a perfect representation of this. Next page, this is a key admission early on in the book. This organization has been able to conceal its existence quite successfully. Many of its influential members are satisfied to possess the reality rather than the appearance of power, and unknown to the students of British history. This is more surprising when we learn that the chief methods of this group work through propaganda. This group plotted the Jameson raid. It caused the Boer War. It controls the Rhodes Trust. It created the South African Union. It established South Africa. It founded the British Imperial periodical Roundtable. It is a mouthpiece of this group. It is run out of All Souls, Balliol, New College, Oxford. It has controlled the Times.
And now Trump's got a trust that's going to run Gaza.
The same people behind this were the ones that were putting out and
that's why Tony Blair, the British originally handed over. Then they allow their own troops to be bombed for Jews to take over. It's just the same story. Yeah,
they do the same thing over and over and over. And when Trump was being attacked with P-Gate and all that, it was the same network that was doing that in the UK. So you have to understand that it's the shared relationship.
Did you see Navarro go to the CFR last week and just chew out the British elite?
No.
And he said, "You're British elites. I know you're British intelligence. We're going to shut you down." He actually told them this to their faces.
Lloyd
you can't make this up.
Right. Lloyd George War Administration of 1917 was dominated by these people. They dominated the Peace Conference of 1990. So this is talking about back at the time of the League of Nations, who was running it. And this is where they founded the Royal Institute of International Affairs in 1919. So that is the same groups, same networks. And we can move on to another propagandist from their school, H.G. Wells in 1940, when he wrote The New World Order. So that helps you, right? The book is very easily titled New World Order. He says, to bring this in, this world socialist democracy, he was an explicit socialist. He says, there will need to be many great delays and disappointments before this beneficent world system. Countless people, from the Maharajas to the millionaires, from the Puka Sahibs to the pretty ladies, they will hate the New World Order and be rendered unhappy by frustrations of their passions and ambitions through this advent, and they will die protesting against it, but it's necessary. So millions of people are going to die opposing their New World Order right there. And as you said, he wrote Shape of Things to Come in 1933. That predicted World War II and the future technocratic world order. And again, all these books go into way more detail. This is just selection.
And the key is they literally built it. They've done it. But now, how much of their plan's been frustrated if you put a number on it? I mean, how would you describe it the way it's going?
Well, it's very difficult to get everybody to hate their own nature and hate their biology. You can do it, but it's difficult. Tavistock was frustrated, that whole...
And if people know you're doing it, they can rebel.
Yeah, and yeah, Tavistock is a great example where they had to basically give up pushing all the trans stuff. But I mean, they already have damaged 100,000 kids in America.
And now they're moving on to euthanasia.
Yeah. So I think no, as long as we keep this awakening going, and as people turn to things like Christianity, it's not going to work. In Between Two Ages, in 1970, Brzezinski, I just have an example, one wild page where he says that the technocratic era will utilize weather modification, genetic modification, et cetera, to mutate man. He says that the human being is synthetic, and biological and chemical tampering with what has now been considered immutable as the immutable essence of man can now be plastic.
Well, that's genetic babies, the COVID shots, all of it.
Human conduct, same argue, can be predetermined and subjected to deliberate control. Man is increasingly acquiring the capability to determine the sex of his children, to affect through the drugs the extent of their intelligence, and to modify and control their personalities. And so it goes on to talk about computer technology, satellites, RFID. This was back in 1970, right? So he's basically saying man is a genetic test tube product that aligns with what Bertrand Russell wrote in 1952, Impact of Science on Society. He says that biological warfare is more effective for mass depopulation than war. And this will be inevitable as we move towards global governance. That's what pages 102, 103 and 104. I do not pretend that birth control is the only way in which population can be kept from increasing. There are many other ways, including war. However, more effective is a mass bacteriological Black Death. So here's a person openly advocating for mass genocide.
And he's hailed as a liberal.
No, he's not a liberal. That's the joke, right? He was at one time a Fabian socialist and then supposedly left their society. But in 1984, when Orwell wrote that, he talked about people who, like O'Brien, pretended to be kind of on his side, and but then you find out that it's controlled opposition.
I was not trying to do a product placement thing here. We're at Rex's 23rd birthday. And with my dad and mother. Dad, we're so proud of you. Great job with the surgeons. Thanks for all your prayers for my dad. But Mom, you were literally, without me soliciting, you've been on colostrum now 2 months. And we have the very best at theelectricshore.com. And I'm serious. I didn't bring this up.
I don't ever do
Tell us what happened.
testimonials,
Tell us what
but
happened.
I have been on colostrum for about 2 or 3 months, and a back problem that I've had since Alex was born is almost completely gone after 50 however many years. And my hair is much thicker than it has been, and I have good hair anyway, but it's much thicker. And this is brand new.
Turn darker.
And darker. Beautiful.
So who was it? Who's convinced you to take it? Steve Heimberg or something?
It was Mary Heimberg.
Yeah, they're really smart. They're listeners. So, Mom, you got to listen. The products are amazing.
Well, this one, like I said, I don't do testimonials. There's a lot of good products, but this is the first one that I can go, whoa, it really does what
No, it's funny. I didn't even know the Heimbergs, I guess, because Steve and Mary Ann, like a year ago, your house, like, you need to sell this. So we started, and we got the best brand. It's the strongest. It's no joke. The first 2 weeks of mammals milk is totally different. It's like magic.
That back problem was from when you were born. I have a pinched nerve or something. I never really known what it was.
No, you can blame my whole life.
And it has bothered me, and I just go through the pain, because if you're going to have it, you're going to have it, right?
you.